Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is another installment of Accurate Context. In this episode, I'm going to do things a little bit differently because if you are a Real Housewives of Potomac fan, then you are watching the season. And for me, it's very sad what's happening. What we are seeing is two Nigerian women who are beautiful and educated and established in their field on an international platform being at odds, and one of them bringing on to this international platform stereotypical Nigerian tropes. And as it relates to Nneka or Nneka, there is some information some behind the scenes information that explains her attitude and some of the things that she has shared on Sunday's episode. I don't know how accurate or how true the information is that I'm seeing on social media. However, I am going to tie that information in, and I'm going to add it to the screenshots I have from last week's episode and this week's episode to explain from my perspective what I believe is happening between Nneka and Dr. Wendy Osefo. The Fair Use Act, found in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, allows for limited use of copyrighted material without permission from the copyright holder for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. Additionally, information provided in this video is for entertainment purposes only and is a portrayal of events based on my opinion. I cannot guarantee the accuracy of any comment made, and I take no responsibility for any opinion expressed by individuals who engage with or share my content. So I am not Nigerian, as you all know, but I was lucky enough that my high school social studies teacher, he was Nigerian, and he was also a pastor at my church. I went to college with 3 Nigerian students whose parents were part of the Nigerian consulate in Jamaica. So I feel like I have a good grasp on the culture, the Nigerian culture, and can add some context to a lot of the things that is missing in the conversation as it relates to Dr. Wendy and Nneka. I've asked some of my friends to give me some insight, and so I'm going to use some of the information that they gave me to help in my portrayal of what I feel is happening between Wendy and Nneka. I'm also going to try to compare what I think is happening to the Jamaican culture. So I want you to bear with me. As I said, I am going to draw on some of the behind the scenes things that is being explained on social media, and I'm going to tie that in with some of the screenshots I took from some of the episodes. Okay, so for me, my theory starts here with Nneka. So it's alleged on social media that Wendy was supposed to be the castmate to introduce Nneka. But Wendy refused, allegedly, leading to Ashley being the one to introduce her. So, here's my theory. As we should all know by now in Real Housewives culture, and this has been revealed by many housewives, and in the book Not All Diamonds and Rose by Dave Quinn, even Carlos King has told us that when a new girl is slated to join a franchise, producers will ask that new girl, who do you know in the cast, right? And if she doesn't know anyone really, they will ask her, well, who do you want to be the one to introduce you, more or less, to the rest of the cast and to the viewers as we usher you in as a castmate, right? And Candace, for example, told us when she applied and was interviewed to join RHOP, they asked her who did she know, if anyone. And she told them, well, I know Ashley because we kind of, socialize within the same pageant circles, right? So with Nneka, I'm thinking, and this is just theory, y'all remember, I'm thinking that when she applied to join the Real Housewives of Potomac, perhaps when producers asked her if she knew anyone on the cast, she told them, I know Dr. Wendy. Now, technically, this is not a lie, right? Because as Nneka told us, Wendy's sister, Ivy, is good friends with her husband's cousin. I also theorized that Nneka said, oh, and my husband knows Eddie too. They went to the University of Maryland, College Park together and were in the same union. And as proof, she said, oh, look, I can show you that they follow each other on Facebook. See. And the producer said, okay, cool. This is great stuff. All right. So in the producer's mind, Nneka knows Dr. Wendy. Her husband knows Eddie. This is perfect. This is perfect casting. So the producers, they give Dr. Wendy a call. And this is where technicalities, semantics, and the game of telephone, in my opinion, begin, right? So, meeting Dr. Wendy once wouldn't for me mean that Wendy knows Nneka, right? Wendy is a college professor, a mom of 3. She's a wife. She's on this huge platform. She's doing her political commentary on TV. She's a business owner. She has a lot going on. She's meeting hundreds of people by the day. Why would Nneka stand out? That's what I'm asking, right? Okay, you met at a concert in passing. You had friendly conversation. And friendly conversation can just mean y'all said, hi, nice to meet you. The name probably didn't stick. The face probably didn't stick, right? But of course, because Nneka watches The Real Housewives of Potomac, she knew who Dr. Wendy was. So of course she's going to remember meeting Dr. Wendy. She already knows all the people who are connected to Dr. Wendy. So meeting Dr. Wendy in person once, that's going to forever stick out in Nneka's mind, right? So as I said, this is where the game of telephone technicalities and semantic begins. When the producers call up Dr. Wendy and they're like, hey lady, what's good? We're getting ready to shoot the new season. We have a new girl. She's from Nigeria, just like you. She says y'all are from the same tribe. And And she says, y'all know each other. You know, she said that y'all probably hung out at a concert. I'm just thinking that this is what the producers are saying. Technicalities, semantics. The story is kind of changing because maybe Nneka didn't say, hey, we hung out, we really, really know each other, we're buddy. But when they are relaying the information to Wendy, it's sounding to Wendy like this girl that I don't remember ever meeting. I don't remember her name. Who knows how long ago this concert was, right? It's not connecting for Wendy who this person is. And then the producers drop, oh, she said that, you know, Eddie went to school with her husband and your sister Ivy, you know, knows her cousin. And Wendy's like, okay, I mean, I don't know her, but if I don't know her, right? She probably, the producers are probably like, okay, we don't really know what's going on. The conversation ends. Wendy calls up her sister and she's like, hey, Ivy, do you know somebody named Nneka? She's saying that she knows you and she knows me, and she's using my name to join the cast for The Real Housewives of Potomac, and I don't know her. I don't remember ever meeting her, right? Now, we don't know how close Ivy and Nneka's cousin-in-law is. I think her name is Lebe, right? We don't know how close they are. So we don't know if Ivy even knows Nneka like that, right? Because people have friendships, and you have friendships, and you don't always meet people's family members, relatives, in-laws. So Ivy's like, I don't know any Nnekas, but I can call around, right? Ivy, she's calling around, and nobody she's connected with knows any Nneka's. So this is getting weird. Now finally she gets on the phone with Levy and she's like, hey Levy, do you have an in-law by the name of Nneka? And Levy's like, yeah, my cousin's wife, her name's Nneka. And Ivy's like, why is she using Wendy's name to join the Real Housewives of Potomac? Like, she's telling the producers that she knows Wendy, and Wendy doesn't know her. I don't know her. I don't remember knowing her. She's telling the producers that, you know, we were basically acquaintances or whatever, and I don't think that's cool. Again, a game of telephone. So Lebe, she calls up Nneka, or she probably calls up her cousin, Nneka's husband, and she's like, why is Ivy calling me saying that y'all are using her name and Wendy's name to get on the Real Housewives of Potomac? This is my theory. Follow me, y'all. And the conversation could be misconstrued very easily, right? In this day and age that we live in, once somebody starts talking about, oh, you're using my name or whatever, now we're going to say, oh, you're clout chasing off of my name. You're trying to get on off my name. This doesn't have to be said verbatim for it to be implied. So now Nneka is offended. Wendy is probably calling the producers and she's like, yeah, I don't know Nneka, and I don't know why she would say we know each other, but because for me that's like dishonest, I don't want to be the one to introduce her. I just feel like that's rubbing me the wrong way, right? Isn't that reasonable? I'm just asking, would that not be reasonable? Nneka is calling the producers back and she's like, you know, Wendy's calling around and her sister's calling around and they are upset that I told you guys that I knew her and that we met and blah, 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 blah. And now the producers, in my opinion, the wheels are now turning in their brain and they're like, this seems like a conflict that we could exploit for ratings. Okay, Wendy won't introduce you anymore. We're gonna let Ashley do it. And they find a way to connect Nneka and Ashley so that we can get a seamless transitioning of Nneka into the Real Housewives of Potomac. So I also theorize that when the producers got wind that there was some conflict brewing between Wendy and Nneka, they thought that it was a good opportunity to explore the Osu allegations. The producers obviously follow the blog that ran the story in season 5. And we've often seen this blog highlighted during episodes. So I feel like the producers have always wanted to explore the whole Osu conversation surrounding Dr. Wendy and why Eddie's family isn't really a big part of their lives, blah, blah, blah. But that was hard to do with an all-American cast who do not understand the Nigerian culture. They don't understand the nuances of this conversation about this caste system. So that was hard to do. So finally, here comes a Nigerian woman who is also a part of the same tribe as Wendy. And she most definitely has a better understanding, a better grasp of what being Osu means and whether or not Wendy is a part of that tribe, not tribe, a part of that caste system, right? So they probably said to Ashley, look, you're going to do a one-on-one scene with Nneka. And when you do this scene, we want you to bring up the article about Dr. Wendy. And then on the next hand, producers are talking to Wendy about how they want her season and her storyline to go. And they've obviously read her book, and in her book she talks about her mom and their religious practices and how her mom and dad divorced because her mom was a devout Catholic and her dad was a devout something else, right? And so they're like, okay, we want to explore that this season. And they are not telling her that the reason why they want to explore that is because they know that there's something going on between her and Nneka, and they are going to have Ashley bring up the whole Osu conversation. They're not telling Wendy that. So Wendy is planning out her storyline, and the producers, in my opinion, are telling Ashley that, look, you need to bring up this article. So Ashley and Nneka, they meet up, and Ashley's telling Nneka that, she's having housewarming. And Ashley's like, yeah, and Dr. Wendy, she's going to be there too. You know her, right? Y'all are from the same tribe. And we see Nneka throw like a little shade at Dr. Wendy. She's like, oh, doctor, is she a real doctor? Giving fake, because at this point now we know that Dr. Wendy, she's not a medical doctor, right? But anyways, you got your shade in, and you tell Ashley like, yeah, I've met her. And Ashley's like, yeah, there was just weirdly, and you can see on Ashley's face in the scene that she's uncomfortable, but she still does it, right? She brings up the article, like there was some article out about her some years ago that she was Osu, that like she was shunned, and Ashley makes a face, and that's the face she makes. I put it in it's the screenshot that I have up as I'm talking about this. Ashley makes this face. She's uncomfortable. And Nneka, she explains, it's like so nonchalant, what Osu is, and she tells Ashley that it's abolished, but she made sure that she was stirred in saying, I know I'm not Osu. I don't know if Dr. Wendy is, but I know I'm not. And she doesn't even explain just how wrong it is to even bring that up, right? She's just so nonchalant about it. But anyways, I digress. Ashley takes Wendy aside at her housewarming party, and once again weirdly brings up this article. But Ashley makes it seem like Nneka was the one to bring up the article, and that Nneka was the one kind of saying that Wendy's family is Osu. And you could tell by looking at Dr. Wendy's face that she was even shocked. She was shocked that that conversation was happening, but she rolled with it. So what I feel happens is Wendy finishes the scene at Ashley's house, and probably on her way home in the car, or when she gets home, she calls up her mom and she calls up her sister after really sitting with it and thinking about that scene. She calls them up and she's like, y'all, this new girl, Nneka, actually is telling me that she said that we are Osu. And Nneka is Nigerian. She's from the same tribe. She knows what being Osu means. She knows that it's been abolished. She knows that culturally this is no longer something that is acceptable to speak about. And she is bringing this culturally nuanced, thing to this show. Like, this is how I'm imagining Wendy talking to her mom, and now everybody's upset. So first, she's using my name without my permission to get on the show, and now she's bringing this foolishness to the show, something that Americans can never truly understand, and something that we as Nigerians know is harmful. And now everybody's upset. Everybody's mad. Wendy's mom is mad. Wendy's sister is mad. And who are they calling? They are calling the one person who they know is connected to Nneka, and that is cousin Lebe. And they're going off on Lebe. And this is where technicalities and semantics and cultural norms and practices and all of that comes into play. Because if we don't have the accurate cultural context in terms of being party to the conversation that Wendy's mom and Wendy's sister was having with Lebe, then we can't really know for certain what exactly was said or what exactly was meant in terms of the words that were said, right? So because at this point they are thinking that Nneka brought this Osu conversation to Ashley and brought this conversation to the show, and they were already annoyed that in their minds Nneka lied and said that she knew Wendy and all of this and all of these things, right? Upset on top of upset. They're asking Lebe, in my opinion, they're asking her, why is your cousin-in-law saying that we are Osu? We all know what being accused of coming from this lineage means. You don't know my family to be that. Have I ever prayed any bad prayers over you? Have I ever prayed for your family? And Lebe is probably like, yeah, you've prayed for us. And in my opinion, culturally, I don't think pray means like she went down on her knees and prayed. I think culturally, what Wendy's mom was saying is, have I ever said anything negative about your family? And then she went and then she asked, have I not only uplifted your family? So then why is this person who is part of your family not uplifting my family and saying these negative things that you all know in our culture is not acceptable? Right? And all these tribal things are being discussed in the conversation. And again, a game of telephone is played. Right? And Lebe is calling, what's her name? Nneka. And she's like, what's going on? Why is Wendy's sister and Wendy's mom calling me and cursing me out and saying all these things to me about you saying that Wendy is Osu or her family is Osu, and that is why Eddie's family doesn't mess with them? What's going on? And she is giving Lebe is giving Nneka the play-by-play of how the conversation went. Right? So now she knows that Wendy's people are upset with her. But she goes into a scene. And you know what? Before she goes into the scene with Robin, I feel like Nneka being a newbie, she goes to the producers and she's like, you know, Wendy's mom and sister, they're calling my in-laws again. And this time they're being super aggressive and they're saying all these negative things and cursing my relatives out. And I just feel like it's because Wendy doesn't want another Nigerian on the cast, because at the end of the day, Nneka herself isn't aware that Ashley has thrown her under the bus and has made it seem like she said that Wendy is Osu. At this point, no one on either side is aware that Ashley lied. So both sides, understandably, in my opinion, are upset. Things are being said from a cultural standpoint. I feel like the conversations and the phrasing and the colorful way Nigerians express themselves, similar to how Jamaicans express ourselves when we're happy or angry, you know? I feel like Wendy's mom was using a lot of colorful Nigerian verbiage, but what Wendy's mom expressed, I feel, as the game of telephone is happening, and what Wendy's mom has expressed is going from Lebe to Nneka to Robin and maybe other people. The information is being changed, right? And all the cultural context is being erased, especially as Nneka goes into a scene with Robin to give her this tea, right? And I honestly feel like if Nneka wanted this to feel authentic and not messy and not like, now she definitely has a vendetta against Wendy, she should have had the conversation that Nneka had with Robin is the conversation she should have had with Ashley. She should have called up Ashley again for another one-on-one scene, and she should have let Ashley know that, some things are coming up. There's a conversation about the Osu article that you brought up, and it's being, it's some tribal things are being said to me, coming from my cousin-in-law that Wendy mom is saying, because Nneka's husband in the scene in the car, when Nneka said, when Nneka was invited to the pickleball game and she was talking about, oh my God, Wendy's going to be there. And Nneka's husband is like, yeah, Wendy's family's being aggressive and blah, 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 blah. He brought up that some tribal things are being said. Which means, as I said before, that Nneka isn't talking about just one phone call about her using Wendy's name. Because she let us know that one phone call happened before Ashley's event, 2 weeks before Ashley's event. And now the pickleball game is happening way after Ashley's event, right? And her meetup with Robin happened after Ashley's event. So if her husband is bringing up the fact that tribal things were said in the call that his cousin received, then that means this call happened after the whole Osu conversation that Wendy had with, well, not Wendy had it, but Ashley had with Wendy, right? And both Nneka and Wendy, to me, were being fake at Ashley's house. I think both were comfortable with filming the entire season and not speaking on the fact that they know each other. Nneka said to Robin, when Robin said, oh, but y'all acted like y'all were meeting for the first time. Nneka said, well, if she wanted to act like she was meeting me for the first time, then I was prepared to do so too. But to me, in my opinion, you can meet somebody months ago. And if you're not good with faces and you're not good with names, you can meet them again under different circumstances and still say, nice to meet you, because you honestly don't remember them. But in this context, I feel that Wendy had already connected the dots and figured out who this Nneka person was. And she was fine with saying, I still don't feel comfortable with being the one to introduce her. We can go through the season being cordial. And that's what Wendy was trying to do. And when she met her at Ashley's house, she didn't want to say, hey, yeah, I think we met before. But also, Nneka could have said, no, 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 we met before. Your sister, I think, knows my cousin-in-law, right? And then maybe Wendy could have said, who is your cousin-in-law? And the conversation could have gone that way. But neither wanted to do that for whatever reason. But then, when Wendy's mom called Lebe and was cursing her out, Nneka needed a way to bring up this conversation on camera with one of the ladies without it sounding crazy that Wendy's mom was just going around calling her family for no reason. And the only way she could do that was to admit to Robin that her and Wendy knew each other prior to meeting again at Ashley's house. And now she's in this scene with Robin, someone I'm sure at that point she knew doesn't like Wendy. And she's having this very culturally nuanced conversation with this American woman who does not like Wendy. And she's throwing into this conversation some of the most stereotypical things about the Nigerian culture and about Nigerian spirituality. And in the scene, she doesn't say that Wendy's mom said that she was going to put an X on her. Robin was the one who yelled, "Oh, she's working voodoo?" And Nneka laughs. Hee 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 hee. This woman is putting an X on me. That was very harmful. Because in the Nigerian culture, from what my friends have told me, you don't just throw that accusation out there like that. And from what I know about the Catholic faith, in the Catholic faith, right, shrines are like important places for them to have devotion. A shrine is where a Catholic will go to express their faith and to pray and to intercede on other people's behalf. And yeah, when you pray at the shrine, you can often like submit someone's name, in the sense of, like, let's say your sister is sick and you go to the shrine and you pray and you submit your sister's name and you ask for her healing and deliverance and whatever else, right? And so I feel like within the context of just that, Nneka just throwing out shrines and then agreeing with Robin that it was witchcraft is very harmful, right? Again, playing into African stereotypes, right? And I can draw on my Jamaican culture, right? If my grandmother, who is a church-going, Bible-thumping woman who can read you down with scripture, right? If you are coming after her granddaughter with lies and disparaging things about her family, and now she is speaking to you and she's upset with you, and she says, ask about me. I don't pray bad prayers for people, but God sees about me. And Psalms and Matthew And Micah, those are Bibles, books of the Bible, y'all. These scriptures say that God, my God, will cut down my enemies, and my God will make my enemies my footstool. This wouldn't mean that my grandmother is trying to bring physical harm to anybody or is putting an X on anybody. She's just repeating Bible scripture. She's just repeating things that she believes. And I feel like this is what Wendy's mom did when she was speaking to Lebe. She's like, I've never prayed any bad prayer for you. When I go to my shrine as a good Catholic, I've only ever uplifted your family in prayer. She's probably saying to Lebe, but when people's bad tongues rise up against me and my family, and I rise up against me and my friends, in the past, ask around in the DMV. I am a powerful woman of God, and when I pray, God answers my prayer and he makes my enemies my footstool. Like, I think that's how Wendy's mom was speaking. But then Nneka, who obviously knows what all of this means, decides to erase that meaning from the conversation and creates the narrative that Wendy's mom was talking about witchcraft. How sad. I also believe that when Wendy's mom was saying in the conversation, ask about me in the DMV, she wasn't making a threat or anything. I think she was speaking about her reputation in terms of the Osu conversation. She was saying to Lebe, if this is what your cousin-in-law Nneka believes, then she should ask about my lineage, ask people of Nigerian descent in the DMV area who I am, because nobody knows me to be of that lineage, and nobody knows me to be someone who is working witchcraft or anything like that. They know me to be a woman in good standing, and they know my family to be in good standing. That's what I think that conversation was. But again, Nneka played a game of telephone and went and switched it up and had Robin running with a different narrative. I don't have a problem with you. I don't know you enough to have a problem with you. I don't know you to have a problem with you. I don't know you. Both of them are saying the same thing. But it's getting tense because obviously Nneka wants to bring up all these phone calls, and she finally wants to get it off her chest that she knows Wendy, or in my opinion, that Wendy didn't want her to be a part of the group. She doesn't really want to break the fourth wall and say Wendy was supposed to be the one to introduce me, but she told the producers, no, all alleged, right? So instead, Nneka's like, you don't know me, but I hear you have a problem with me. And then she continues with the same witchcraft narrative. And it's very, very sad that two beautiful, intelligent, professional Nigerian women who are of the same Igbo tribe are on national TV, on a national platform that is the Real Housewives, fighting and having disagreements and bringing up stereotypes that are harmful to not only the Nigerian community, but the entire African community and the African diaspora. And I hope that we get this storyline fixed. I hope that this does not continue throughout the entire season, even though I've seen clips and heard some rumblings that it does. But I hope it doesn't continue. I hope when we get to the reunion, certain things get cleared up and these women can move on in a better way. So that's my rambling. This is all just my theory on what I think is happening behind the scenes and what I think is what we're seeing playing out on our screens so far between Nneka and Wendy. Again, it's all alleged. This is just my opinion. This is just me making stories. This is just theory on my part. But thank you all for listening to another Accurate Context episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Please, if you feel like my content needs more crowd, share the link. Tell a friend and tell a friend to tell another friend. Okay? Until next time, walk good. Bye.